Different, don't get bad. High difference of my winning. Show do good, not that swing. Yeah, I got nice vision. All my brothers. Hey, it doesn't make sense to me, dude.
Sean here, and I saw an old video of Chance that just confirmed everything I thought about him. Conversations with Cholo, I think that's what it was. But it was about a woman that was living, a girl to him that was living at his house, and all of the horrors she went through. And it confirmed everything that I thought in my own head that happened. I think a lot of us are the same way. Behavioral patterns are very easy to spot. Also, organizational patterns, the way people are promoted, the time frame that people hold jobs, and so on and so forth. Chance, man, he is an open book when it comes to just being the worst. Sits up in his attic that I call the Scab Lab, making videos directed at one person and sharing them to the world, doling out personal information, telling things that would be embarrassing. And it just proves to me that Sally is a giant piece of turd, just like this Scab Lab dwelling goblin. Let's jump to the end of Cyraxx's relationship with this woman, because I want to make a point. When a relationship ends and a woman ghosts you and disappears, there is a reason. And if you do the movie and go fight for them and go chase them, and it's going to end with a restraining order. It's going to get even messier. If someone makes the decisions, just my advice, you don't have to listen, but I'm trying to help you. If someone makes the decision to ghost you and to leave, they obviously have thought about it for a while. Now, if it's you two having a fight and they leave, you definitely don't need to go after them. Emotions are already running high. Even if you're a nice person, you never know how psychotic you could go, how desperate you are. My ex and I, she asked me if I wanted a divorce. I knew she did. I said, no, I don't, but I know you do. I wasn't rolling over and showing my belly or whatever, because I cared about her so much, and I was looking at her and she was just so unhappy. How could I fight to keep that unhappiness in the house? I'm making a point. Cyraxx, she left, I think, under the cover of darkness. He kept some of her stuff. He said she forfeited her right to that stuff. But something else he said, oh Lord, Sally is a giant piece of garbage. I think she is maybe up there with Chance, quietly. Todd, you'll never listen to this, but you made my life a living hell. He was a criminal. His mom would cover for him and sometimes participate. It's not about him. I'm just saying there's people out there like this. She controlled her money because Cyraxx thought she couldn't control her spending. And of course, Sally thought the same. Now, if you're vulnerable and you're just grateful for a place to stay, and you've got someone like Sally, grandmotherly, who's telling you, sweetheart, I'll hold on to it for you. I've got a bank account already. We'll put it in there. Kind of like a pimp. And I'll give you the money when you need it. You just tell me what money you need and I'll get it to you. I'll hold on to it for you. There's one control point. That would have immediately sent a red flag up. But I still feel like Sally was trying to prevent her from leaving the house under the guise that it was to protect her and to help her get her children back, and she didn't want her to throw her life away, and she just knew better for her than the girl did. And then we get to the part we all know about, where Cyraxx talks about trying to leave the house and go for a walk. She wouldn't let him. It was in the middle of the night, and he blamed her and said, and you're the reason I blacked out. And then he said, and did that to you. This dude can't even say out loud what he's done. And if you get to that point where you can't talk about what you've done out loud, you got some serious issues. And I think as long as Cyraxx doesn't say what happened, he can just push it away and he can continue to blame others. I mean, think about it. If he said, straight up said, yeah, I do go after children. But you made me do it. It's usually, I was entrapped. The situation, not the act itself. The situation in this case was trying to go for a walk, and the act itself was him blacking out and striking her. And he said, I haven't hit you since then. One time is enough. If someone doesn't care enough about you, they'll gaslight you, tell it was their emotions got the better of them. I just care about you so much. I'm so sorry. Then they'll be nice for a while, and then they'll turn into a shithead. She's not online, at least not like Chance is, making all these insane videos talking about how terrible he is and how he made her leave. He did that, whatever Cyraxx would say. I know I got tied up there for a second because he just frustrates me. To do what you did and then get online and make a public video trying to retcon everything. Make yourself the victim. The minute you struck her, Chancey Poo, she was the victim and remained the victim. When Sally took control of her finances that you sort of pushed her into, she was the victim. Yes, she had to agree to it. But at the same time, she was living in the house. I think she had left her kids, possibly. But the bottom line is her situation was terrible. And you took advantage of it. You wanted a living vagina there, a living fleshlight. And that's all you cared about. When he had to mention that she had gotten pregnant by a guy when she was young, it is what it is, you could just tell. It made him so mad. I'm going to go out on a limb. I think Cyraxx was pretty forceful in trying to get sexual acts initiated. That's just my opinion. The way that relationship was described and how it was a controlled relationship and how it seemed like she just needed a place to live and get away from everything. Maybe Sally was cooking for her. But when Chance was describing their relationship, he brought his grandmother, not his mom, into it over and over about how they felt, and it matched how Chance felt. Now, we know he just projects onto other people and assumes they feel the same way. But in this case, knowing what we know about Sally now, and her getting that money and being able to control it, and I'll give you the money when you need it, I believe that Sally, and if Ed was with her, perked up Ed at the time, I think they wanted her there to occupy Chance. They wanted her there if they were utilizing some of her money. They wanted rent. Think about this. Their own scab lab dwelling goblin didn't have a job, and he wasn't contributing to rent. But they expected her to. Chance wanted her there because it took the heat off of him. She's paying the rent. But see, Chance's job is supporting her. I can't go get a job because I have to support you. I hate this goblin, and you can't hate him enough. When someone is talking about somebody else that supposedly hurt them in the past, but all you hear is rage, and all you hear is their side of the story, they're an abuser, man. 100%. The way that Chance talks and how she was responsible for all of the things that led her into leaving the house. It couldn't have possibly been anything that you did, Chance, and how you continuously yelled at her and how you tried to restrict her from doing things from your own mouth. You tried to restrict her from doing things, controlled who she talked to, controlled where she went. And you held the fact that she was staying at your house over her head. That was your one bargaining chip. And when she left, I think she went to go back with her baby daddy. I don't know. But when she left to get the hell out of that terrifying situation, you didn't even try to put yourself into her shoes so that you could understand why she would do that. You know she wasn't coming back. You could have learned from the situation, but instead, it just emboldened you, and it just allowed you to continue to be deluded and to continue to claim victimhood. God knows what he's done. If he would do that to the only possibility he could ever lose his virginity, and he did that to Sally, I think it's pretty safe to say this little goblin is a terrorist in his own home, as he likes to say. And Callum, the way that Chance talks about him still, the way that Chance talks about other people's kids, about how he's devastated they're gone, and I miss him more than her, and he was more important to me than she was. I am sorry, but there is nothing fatherly about this little goblin. There is no nobility. He does not want a child in his life to be a father. That is extra responsibility. It would take him away from watching TV and playing video games and pretending that he's a music producer and getting online all the time and making hundreds of videos in like 3 month span, calling out the same people saying the same thing. Here's the other issue. Because he's making all of those videos saying the same thing over and over, it means his belief in what he's saying has not changed. So someone coming into his life or being in his life and telling him the truth, telling him what he needs to do, it's not going to fly with Scabby Boy. It's not. We've seen it with Sally. Now imagine it when Sally's gone from the house and whoever it is left alone. Whatever girl it is left alone with Chance. No checks, no balances, just free reign for the goblin. Who knows what happened in that house? How loud the screaming was. His idea of striking is punching somebody in the face. And I think when she was trying to leave, Chance pulled his hand back like he was going to punch her. Now, in my head, I picture Sally like holding him back while he's got his hand. No, you ain't leaving, with his hand cocked back. But in Chance's head, he said he had it up to try to tell her to stop. He's a psychotic little goblin who will never take responsibility for his actions. He will remain a danger to women. He will remain a huge danger to children. And I think it's admirable that anybody tries to get into his life. There are people more clever than myself out there that are able to get in contact with these people, who are able to expose him, at least get them to watch some of the history on YouTube, which is like Lauren. I know I bring him up, but if a woman was ever to try to date Lauren, if I ever go on a date, I try to look up and see if I can see anything psychotic from this person, or you can see if they're still in a relationship with someone else. A woman looks up Chancey Poo, Chance Wilkins, and when all you hear from Sally is just like Lauren's version of what his mom would say, when all you hear from Sally is, oh, he's such a sweet boy, he's so good, it's almost like a spider luring in the fly. Please come. Please go up in the attic. Please help us with payment. Please occupy this goblin. Would you please help us? Please come into this house. And if you do, they're going to do everything they can to get control over you and keep you from leaving. So if any woman ever hears this and listens to this point, you are putting yourself in danger. You are putting yourself at risk for violence, definitely for control, mental abuse, verbal abuse. It's all going to happen, and it's going to be your fault. And Sally, if she has to get in the middle, it's going to say, well, I think this is 50-50 chance. You did some things like this, but also you antagonized him just like two children. You should never get in a relationship with him. It would be someone to clean as well, because Chance is not going to clean. So maybe if you want to stay here, we need your help. Here's some chores. And they'd be all Chance's chores. Chance, why aren't you helping? I got to work on my YouTube career, my music, and my racing. So you'd be used for manual labor too. A job, occupying the goblin, paying rent, manual labor around the house, and anything else they can freeload off of you. And should you ever try to leave, whatever your expensive possession, Xbox or whatever, it's going to be in a spot where you can't get it without alerting the goblin. And I want you to understand something else if you're listening. There's a lock on the outside of the goblin's door. do you think, given his psychotic nature, that Sally wouldn't, during the night, just lock the attic, potentially, so you couldn't leave? They're desperate at this point, and I'm not kidding, and I'm not trying to be dramatic. I'm looking at this from a realistic standpoint. So in my opinion, no one should ever go into that house and stay the night, ever. You may find yourself there for a week. You may find yourself for 2 weeks as they play off Chance's, quote, special needs, unquote. And they bribe you, or they talk you into being a mentor for him. And soon you're locked into the deluded world of the scab lab dwelling goblin. Just don't do it. That's my video for today. See you guys later.
It doesn't make sense to me, dude.
Different, don't get bad. High difference of my winning. Show the gun outside swinging. Yeah, I got knife vision. I'm my family, all my brothers.